Hello. I thought I'd make a little video to pass on a bit of lesser known folk knowledge, and that is to show you how to make a Crúla, or actually to join me as I make my first Crúla. A Crúla, the short version, is a type of folk charm for your house, kind of like the evil eye or a horseshoe or something like that. Things you hang up to bring you good luck. The main way it differs from all those kind of beliefs is that instead of looking outwards and warding things away, a Crúla just looks inwards. It looks at you, it looks at the house, it looks at the family. And the belief is, if you have a Crúla for your house and it can see you every day, it knows what's going to happen to you, all the bad things and the good things, and importantly, how and when you're going to die. Which is a little bit strange. It's kind of morbid from an outsider's perspective, but I suppose the belief is it's kind of like signing yourself up for predestination or predetermination. Like you can just relax and enjoy life because nothing you do is going to change anything. This thing is holding the knowledge of what's going to happen anyway, regardless. That's the thinking anyway among people who subscribe to this belief. So the right time to make a Crúla is between the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, but before the first frost. So I'm in the middle of August now. That's now. So I thought I'd make my first one. I was going to make a larger full-size one, like the more common ones you would see, for myself in my own house. But I recently got some nice things in the post from a friend of mine, and I've been thinking of what to send back to them. And I thought, hey, I might as well make a small workstation Crúla and send it back to them. So that's what this is. This is my first one, because the person who would normally have made these and who taught me how to make them is no longer around. And I suppose I'm not feeling the invincibility of youth anymore, or as much as I used to. So I thought it might be time to make something to look after myself as I enter middle age. Anyway, on we go. There's actually very little set form for a Crúla. All you need to know is in a short traditional rhyme that gets passed down, which is eyes to see and hands to hold and clothes to keep away the cold. That's all it is. I suppose it needs eyes to see you and do its job, and the clothes are kind of a bit of a kindness because they spend most of their time outside, or traditionally. This one's probably going to be inside at a desk or something. But they would spend most of their time outside, and you want it to be nice and warm. Kind of like a scarecrow in a way, I suppose. The other thing, and the thing to start with, is a body to hold it together. It's not in the rhyme, but it is implied. I mean, you need a corpus. So it can be anything at all, really. I have a couple of old nails from my house that I squared off roughly on the anvil. I'm not going to show you that because I'm not good enough to show yet. It was a fairly rough process. So I'm just going to lash these together now in a T-pose, simple enough, with a bit of garden wire. And there we go, that's the body of the Crúla. Simple enough, doesn't need to be any more than that. And now we'll do the eyes. For the eyes, most people, especially out the country, use skulls because they can get them handy enough. All you need is something that has seen or can see, and you can interpret that in a number of ways. I've heard of Crúlas, like more modern ones, say, with security cameras for heads, like discarded ones, or anything with a lens, really, because the interpretation is that can see, like scopes, binoculars, even the peepholes from doors, things like that, for small ones like this. I am using a shrew skull because I have a few of them, because I have cats, and I'm just going to glue that right to the top here. I might reinforce it a bit because it's very papery, and you should never allow a Crúla to fall into disrepair before summer has come again, and I don't want my friend to have any bad luck, so I'll do that now. And there we go. That's the head or the eyes fixed onto the top of it. What I used there to both to fill up the skull cavity, which was very fragile, and to fix it to the nail was a mix of super glue and baking soda, which is a model maker's trick. It makes a really hard cement. The Crúla does not care about modern materials. You can use whatever tricks you like, because we're not doing a recreation of a historical thing. We're creating something that's in a living tradition. So it honestly doesn't matter as long as it follows the rules. You know what I mean? So now we're going to go on to hands. For the hands, you just need something that has held or can hold things. The common natural choice, the kind of historical choice, is branches that have had fruit on them. So I have a bit of late hawthorn here. That's what it looked like when I picked it. And I thought these little spindly bits, you see them there, were very hand-like. So I got a selection of them and glued them onto a stick and heat gunned them just to dry them out, make them not too dry now, you don't want them snapping off or anything, but just to take the bit of the spring and the green out of them. So I'm going to take a few of them and just fix them onto the ends here for the Crúla's hand. So there's my hand stuck on. I use the same bread soda, super glue, cement kind of mix, and a bit more garden wire just to keep it secure. You don't necessarily need fruit bearing branches, although they're fairly common. If you look around, it doesn't have to be edible or safe fruit. Everything has fruit. But you can use, like, say, clamps on bigger ones, nails, screws, anything you can think of that can hold two things together or grasp something. Now, for the clothes to keep away the cold, you can basically use any wee scrap of cloth you have that will fix around it and stay on it over winter. This is a little scrap of silk organza, which is way fancier than anything you need to use, but the reason I'm using it is this is left over from my time in college where I met this friend. Basically, the more personal connection you have with the parts or the ingredients of your Crúla, the better. It's not strictly necessary, but people say it is better. So I'm just going to mess around with this until I find a good way to fix it to it, make a little outfit for it. And there we go. The Crúla is born. Simple as that. Hopefully it survives the trip across the country now. I'll have to pack it really well. And hopefully it looks after my friend. So, I hope you learned something interesting from this. I would absolutely love to see anyone else making these. Or if you find any around the country or around the world. I think it's a fairly widespread tradition actually. And I am sure the owl fella will be very happy to know that his knowledge is being passed on and people are making these for themselves again. I'm going to make my own bigger one for myself for the house next, and I'll probably put some pictures up of that at some point. Good luck.